Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. We are back with another Reddit episode. This one is an unpopular opinions. Hot takes, unpopular opinions.
Wherever you can gather them from.
Basically,
yourself.
The intention was hot takes. Hot takes and unpopular opinions are essentially the same thing. And so I was struggling to find other hot takes listed on the internet. And so I went to our good friend Reddit. And lo and behold, the unpopular opinions subreddit had some. So I don't know, I guess we'll see what we call this episode, if we make it unpopular opinions or something else. So before we get into our hot takes and unpopular opinions, welcome to the episode. Megan and I always like to start with just catching you guys up on any new happenings in life, the world, anything. And then we give you our weekly spotlight. What's your weekly spotlight?
I was like, I could just jump into that first because that was what I was getting ready to talk about. Do you already have yours thought of? I wonder if it's the same. It probably isn't, but there also hasn't been much going on. My weekly spotlight is the album release that Benson Boone had, and it's called Fireworks and Rollerblades, and it came out April 5th, and I have been listening to it nonstop. As he's been getting more popular and like been promoting his singles prior to the album release, like that's when I figured out who he was and started listening to his music, and I've really liked everything that he's released, so I was super excited for his album to come out, and I've just been having a blast listening to it and trying to convince anyone I know to listen to it.
Basically, I mean, I was excited too. I have grown to become more of a fan since you started listening to him, and then I was excited for the album to come out as well. I've also been listening to it, and there's some good songs out there. I know Megan has a whole list compiled in her phone if you want to share that.
I don't think that it's, I haven't checked it since, the first day it came out, and I just, ranked initially what my order of songs were, but, it changes very quickly and, a lot, I feel like, when you're first listening to an album. But this is what it was, and I'll provide notes if needed, if this has changed. It's also hard because, he's had 3 singles that were, pretty new that he released right before, and then he has 2 older songs that I think are just his most popular songs that he wanted
slapped
to include
on
the album. So while I like those songs, it's I feel like I can't judge it as well with those. So anyways, number 1 right now is Be Someone. It's the first actual song in the album. The transition from the intro part of the album to the first song is so good. When I was listening to it, because I started this as I was going to the gym in the morning before work, and I was just if that was the transition between whatever this intro was and the first song, that was genius and incredible.
And I did the same thing because I was listening to it when I was taking Vegas for a walk in the morning. I was okay, we'll plug the album in, we'll get started. And I put my phone in my pocket when I was walking, and I had that same thought where it's what I was if that was a transition from the intro to the next song, because I feel historically, I don't listen to a lot of albums as new releases from start to finish. And so as I've been more into different artists and they've released albums, I try to do the artist justice by listening, from front to back of how they intended everything to be listened to and come together. And so I feel I've been more mindful of the transition between songs, and that was the transition of all transitions.
Okay, then I have Slow It Down and Cry, which those are some of the songs that I was already kind of more familiar with, and they're the newer singles on the album, so I feel that made sense for them to be up higher. Then it's There She Goes. I don't know why, or maybe I do know why, but this song, you guys know, or maybe you don't, but Ciera and I are very big Jonas Brothers fans, and there's something about this song where even before the album came out, he was teasing it. I think it was this one that I sent you, but who knows? Maybe it was a different song.
It was.
I texted it to Ciera to be this is giving Jonas Brothers. And there's a specific part, too, where it's the whole song kind of gives a Jonas Brothers vibe, but there's specific parts where it's reminding Ciera and I of Jonas Brothers songs. And the best we could come up with right now was there's a
Poison Ivy.
There's a tone drop where it's that's in There She Goes, and then that same kind of sound is in Poison Ivy. So I don't know if that's what it reminds us of, because I feel if you were to just listen to those songs separately, you'd be this isn't really, they're not the same song. Yeah. Regardless, then I have Beautiful Things.
That's why I wish I was musically inclined enough to know why certain songs remind me of other songs, even though like they don't sound the same. Like there's got to be something in there that I'm like, oh, that's why it reminds me of it. Because coming later, I don't know if this is even like where this is listed, but the last song on the album was like reminding us of Born This Way by Lady Gaga.
I don't know if I fully agree.
I think that's what I landed on as what it reminds me of. Please, if you guys, please listen to this album and let me know if I'm right or wrong, because like I think I've landed on that's what it reminds me of. Even though I'm like, I don't know why it reminds me of that. Like I kind of do, but I don't.
Some of it's like the cadence for like different, like certain parts of the song. So that then it's like the rest of the song does not remind you of the said song. But then there's like two parts of the songs where like the cadence is the same. Then I have Friend, because I felt like that one ended up kind of high because I feel like I was kind of like getting the lyrics down to that one faster than some of the other ones. Then I have My Greatest Fear. Hello Love and Love Is Mine are slower songs, I would say. And so it was hard to kind of get into them when I didn't know the words. But now that I'm getting the words down a little bit better, I like them a lot. Then I have In the Stars and Ghost Town, just because like I've already known those songs for a while, so like they're not as exciting to me. Then I have Drunk in My Mind, Forever and a Day, and What Do You Want? And I feel like those are just kind of on the bottom because I still don't know them all that well yet. So there's my ranking.
I don't have a full ranking, but my favorites right now are Be Someone, I think is my top. There She Goes, Love of Mine, and that's mostly like the big ones that I'm like, this one needs to be listened to next.
I know, I keep thinking that about like a lot of the songs though, which is good. It means he's made a good album.
No skips.
I honestly have been like, I mean, not seriously, because like I think the shows he's doing right now are like small venues because it's his first tour that he's gone on. So therefore, given like how quickly he's like grown in popularity, the tickets are all sold out, and then like any resale tickets are like going to be more than I want to pay to go to one of his concerts. But like I would love to see him in concert now, but I'm probably not going to. Not right now.
My weekly spotlight was the Iowa Women's UConn Final Four game.
That's a good one. Although some people might disagree.
I mean, I feel like no matter what, throughout this entire tournament, like people have been saying like Iowa shouldn't win, like refs are like playing Iowa, like getting them to the championship. I don't know much about basketball, honestly. I was just glad that we won. And it was a close game. Nail biter.
I mean, when your team that you're cheering for,
like, what more
wins.
can I ask for, you know? And, like, I truly mean this as someone who, like, I don't know hardly anything about basketball except for you want to shoot hoops into the basket. Fouls and anything else, like, I don't know what gets called for a foul. So every time people are, like, complaining about this stuff, I'm like, I don't freaking know. I'm just, like, either I'm happy if it's good for my team, I'm sad if it's not, you know? And that's all I can do. That was on Friday, and we went to Haley's house and watched, and it was a good time. We had a little watch party, and then when we won, we're like, okay, national championship watch party. And that one was not as fun. But
I will
do you guys want to
say,
know what happened on my Saturday?
Oh.
What'd you
I was just going to say, like, compared to last year, I think that everyone would say the championship game this year was much better refed. Like, I didn't see anyone complaining about the refs. We played a better game compared to last year, and, like, the score was closer. And, you know, I don't really have any complaints. Like, it's just, like, the better team won. And so congrats to South Carolina. And it won viewing records. Most watched.
Didn't it beat out the men's national championship? That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. What a quick turnaround. The hype built at the end of last year.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, like, next year how this translates, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know there's still some, like, big players in college basketball. But, like, will it transfer, like...
It'll be interesting to see both, like, for next year for women's college basketball and then also, like,
for the WNBA.
WNBA.
I agree.
Because now I just saw something, too, of, like, the Indiana Fever. I don't really know, like, their normal streaming or broadcast situation, but I saw a tweet from them today saying, like, they had, like, 36 of their games this upcoming season are going to be on, like, major networks, maybe, which, like, isn't maybe the case normally. So, it should be interesting.
And I feel funny because, like, I'm not a big basketball fan anyways, so it's, like, how will this translate for me? Like, I genuinely, for the most part, don't watch basketball outside of March Madness. So, like, will I be watching Caitlin Clark in the WNBA? I don't know. Will I be continuing to watch Iowa basketball next year? I don't know.
I probably
if March Madness is going on, then maybe, but that's about it. So, anyways,
it's always like, it's unfortunate, but like it's always more fun to watch teams that are good and that are winning. So part of it will probably depend
That's
on
why
like, are they
last
good
year
or
I
are
was
they
a
winning?
silent Hawkeye football fan.
We
That
won
was-
10 of our games.
Yeah, but it wasn't fun to watch.
I know. It was actually painful to watch.
I was like, I
I used to
couldn't
have
watch
that
it.
in my Hinge profile, and then I had to take it out because I
You're
was like,
like,
I
this
can't even
is
talk about this
embarrassing.
anymore. It was like, I go crazy for
Hawkeye
blank.
football, and now you're like, Hawkeye football is actually driving me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my Saturday. This is annoying because so I was sick on Saturday, and it was Saturday. Like there are 7 days in the week.
Would you rather have like had to call in sick for work?
I feel like if I like I had to, I would have had to.
I
because
know.
I was physically sick, and so I've been like, oh, like I have no choice. And then, like if I would have gotten my weekend like back, I would have been paid either way. Like it would have been annoying.
You would have been. You wouldn't have to take PTO. Mine forces you to take PTO if you have
No, I'm
it.
saying I would have been paid
Oh,
because I would have taken PTO.
I gotcha.
So like as long as it
I just
didn't
didn't know
like
how valuable your
derail.
PTO was to you versus
That's
like,
what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
want to have
As
to
long as
do
it
a
didn't
sick day.
derail like plans of like, oh, you can't do this because you're 8 hours short of PTO, then I'd be like, dang, I wish I wasn't
Although
sick.
then I'd be like, I haven't had to do this yet, but like, eventually in my life, I might just have to be like, I'll take the unpaid day. Like, I don't care.
Anyways,
I haven't had to do that. I've
to
been
recap
burdening
for you
my
guys,
PTO.
this is also an interesting weekend because our mom, she actually, her and our stepdad went to the men's Final Four tournament in Phoenix. They're Iowa State fans. Iowa State was obviously not in the Final Four,
But they were supposed to have like our mom was hopeful for their tournament run, so she bought tickets to the Final Four.
like preemptively before they like really shot up and like before they knew who the teams were going to be in the Final Four. And so she went and they also just like made a trip out of it in Arizona. So anyways, we have 3 dogs over there that needed to be watched over. So Megan said that she would go and watch the dogs, and then I stayed here with Vegas. So typically like weekend or weekday, Vegas needs to get up around like 4:30ish to go outside. And so I wake up and like I went to bed Friday night, totally fine, like the watch party, everything was good, normal, whatever. I wake up and I'm like, ooh, I don't feel very good right now. And so I'll keep this not TMI because I don't want to gross anyone out. But I like went downstairs to let Vegas out, and typically I'll put his leash on him and like I'll walk the yard with him because like I want to make sure that he's like peeing and pooping as quickly as possible. And typically it's just faster if I go with him. And so I get outside and I was like, I need to sit down. Like I can't walk with him right now. So I like dropped his leash. We have chairs outside on our deck. And so like I sat on the deck chair and like head in my hands. And I was like, like I don't feel good right now. And keep in mind, I have not thrown up like since high school, I think, or middle school. I don't really know. But like it's been a long time since I've thrown up. And I was like, how will I know if I like need to throw up? Like I don't remember how this works. And I was like, should I go like grab a bucket at some point? Anyways, so I'm sitting outside and I like gag and like it's like that initial, it's like I didn't throw up, but I was like, oh, I'm going to throw up. And so I like go over like on the edge of our deck and like I throw up into our yard basically. And then initially I felt kind of better like after I threw up, but I'm like, what the heck? Like I'm sick, I guess. And so then like having felt a little bit better and wanting to like go back to bed, I needed to make sure Vegas went to the bathroom. So I was like walking the yard with him. I was like pee, poop, whatever. He did his thing. We went back inside. I put him away. I grabbed some water and then I grabbed my trash can from my bathroom and I took it with me to my room. And I was like, earplugs in, headphone on, sleep soundtrack on, like trash can next to my bed, water over here. I was like, I am sleeping for however long I need to. And I did wake up at like 6:30 because I heard Vegas and I was like, whatever. And then basically the entire day was me from like 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. like sleeping on the couch. I threw up one more time like around 9 o'clock. And then it was just like I felt so exhausted. Like Vegas kept trying to like go outside. But like I couldn't walk him around outside because I was like, I am genuinely like too exhausted. I can't walk with you outside. Like I need to like sit, sleep, whatever. And so he kept like, I'd put him on the leash outside and he like barked, come back in. And I was like, have you even peed or pooped or anything in this 12-hour time period? And so, and like I didn't eat anything because nothing sounded good. And eventually I had my uncle drop off some soup for me. Thank God, because I was like, I can't eat anything else. Like I'm not eating like some random food that we have. My only thought, because no one else got sick that we know of, my only thought is that the only thing that I can think of that I ate differently was like our popcorn chicken and fries.
It's just weird
that
because
were
like,
the
those
freezer.
are frozen though, and
I
we've
know.
had them before.
So I don't know. But that was the only thing I ate differently. I wouldn't think they would have gone bad, but because it's frozen.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't get them that long ago. So that was no fun. I did take a nap. Oh, and then my back hurt so bad that, like, after, like, having, like, my nausea and, like, all that stuff was kind of going away, but, like, my body was so sore, my back hurt so bad I couldn't get comfortable. And eventually I, like, took a Tylenol, took a nap, and then I woke up at 7 and I was like, I think I'm cured. I wasn't like 100%, but I felt pretty good after that. And I was like, okay, I think I'm done. And then I texted Haley like the next day or something. I was like, can I come to the watch party?
I feel better, I promise.
Because, you know, I would have respected if she like said like no. Because I've like been in that situation where it's like someone's sick and you're like, maybe like hold off for a little bit. But I was like, I don't think like I think it was like food poisoning. I don't know. And I have yet to be told otherwise. And it's been almost like 4 days. So I think we're good.
And I haven't gotten anything, so that's good.
But yeah, that was not fun. And I was just annoyed because, like, not that I had crazy Saturday plans, but I was like, maybe I'll, do something fun. Go out on the town.
My Saturday, because what's nice about my mom's dogs, even though there's 3 of them, that kind of seems like a lot, they are lazy, okay? So, or like at least like they're easy. So when I'm at her house, if they want to go in and outside, like I just kind of leave the door open. There's like a screen thing that kind of sometimes halfway works to like keep things from getting in. But like the yard has like electric fencing. They don't do anything to mess up the yard. Half the time they're just like laying on the deck outside, content. So like they do their own thing. And then other than like feeding them for their meals, and that was about all I had to do. And then like I was not taking 3 dogs on a walk, so I will say I didn't do that, but they had lots of outdoor time if they wanted. So then between, outside of meals, I was like, okay, I can kind of do what I want, which was nice. I went and got myself some new items from Lululemon, which I haven't done in a while because I used to get very scared to like go into the store to buy stuff because I am technically part of their
Sweat Collective,
which gets you like 15% off. And I joined like literally in high school when I was a gymnastics coach. That was something that like allowed you to join the collective. And so, but when I had first used it and like would try to use it in stores, like I felt like they were like questioning me and like about to like take it away from me. So then I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I will just use it online. And then when I was shopping around at the mall, I decided I wanted a pair of mini flares for the Aligns myself because Ciera has a pair. And I also have been kind of wanting to get, like, I don't remember the specific name, but they have, like, a sports bra that's, like, a V-neck and kind of, like, long line that I've been wanting to try. I just got it in black. So I went up to go check out, and I was not going to mention. I was like, I'm just going to take the loss, and I'm not going to mention the Sweat Collective because I just didn't want to. And the person working there was like, oh, like, if I could just, like, see your ID so I can use your Sweat Collective discount. I was like,
they just
confused because I was like, my driver's license? And she's like, yeah. No, like, I think something, because I gave her my number. Sorry. I did give like my number. So like
she just saw you and you're like, you're in the Sweat Collective, aren't you?
That would make more sense. So I'm guessing something pops up being like, she's in the Sweat Collective. But I was just like, am I supposed to have some sort of like Sweat Collective ID on me? Just my driver's license? And she's like, yeah. And then I was like, yeah, here you go. And then 15% off.
Nice.
So I was like, this could be bad. It actually won't be. I will say I was like, I'm wearing Lululemon sweatpants that I just got for Christmas, but I'm like, I haven't been as diehard Lululemon as I had been in a past life. So
in a past life,
my high school years, maybe. But yeah, I did some Barnes & Noble looking around. I didn't let myself buy anything though because earlier that week I had already bought some books. So I was like, no. Here's what I bought. It was a 50-50 run. Ciera bought 2 books. I bought 2 books. We'd read half of them. Well, actually, not you. I don't know how many you'd read. What 2 did you buy?
I don't remember. Did I buy Powerless and then?
Yes, and then something else.
Scythe.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry,
I used to not get it, you guys. I used to not get it. I would have said prior. This is a hot take. This is a hot take episode. I would have probably said before, hot take is it's weird if you buy books you've already read before, and I can't say that anymore because I do it now. And so here I am. it's just like different when you kind of want to have like
A
the collection aspect, and like the physical copy is so important in that aspect. Like, it's not enough for me to just like read a book that I really like. If I really like it, I want the physical one to appreciate and to visually see. I like having like the bookshelf in the library and the bookshelves we had in the basement. And so I got Divine Rivals, which I've already read, and then I got Ruthless Vows, which I am going to read, but those are my 50-50. And then we've both read Powerless, so Ciera bought the copy of that, and then we're both planning on reading Scythe for our book club, so we got the physical copy of that.
Did you do anything else fun over the weekend? Mostly on Saturday, because Sunday we had the game that we watched.
Nothing else like too crazy. Ordered in some dinner, and
What'd you get?
I got some Blaze because they deliver. It was nice being over there because it was like so many options for delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have like anything. Okay. Book update time, because we actually can like finally share some updates. I finally finished A Court of Silver Flames. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it.
Some people like you're either a changed person after A Court of Silver Flames or you're not.
It just took a long time, and I think that my issue was that I couldn't see like what the purpose of the plot was. I don't want to like give any spoilers because like this is book number 4, you know. But like, you know, there's like stuff going on at the beginning. It's like, well, why is she doing this? Why do we care? And like it kind of builds up in the end to something, but then like the ending kind of just happened very quickly. And again, the book is like what, 700 some pages. Like it just did not need to be that long.
I just finished reading Iron Flame last night. I kind of have similar sentiments, although I will say, like, I don't want to say the spoilers that I was hearing of Iron Flame, or like they weren't full on spoilers, but they were like, oh my god, like that kind of like, there were things that I heard that were kind of cluing me into like XYZ thing that, to be honest, I didn't feel like came to fruition. Like, for example, this isn't a spoiler or anything, I don't think, and I don't think I've heard anyone else say this except for Maggie, but she was saying like, I was talking about like a love triangle when we were talking about book club books, and how it's kind of like, oh, like that can be intriguing sometimes for me. It kind of, I'm 50-50 depending on how it's presented in the book. And she's like, oh, like Iron Flame has like a love triangle. And with things that I had heard of the book, I was like, oh, okay, that could kind of make sense. I could see. But now I'm like, I didn't think there was a love triangle in the book at all. There's 2 possible things that she could have been thinking counted as love triangles to her, but in my mind, they weren't really. So then like I need to talk to her about it, about what she was considering the love triangle. The ending, here's what's hard about fantasy books sometimes, is like sometimes you're reading stuff and like you're kind of like, I don't fully understand what's going on right now, but like I'm going to keep reading and not look into this at all. And that's what I was doing. And for the most part, I felt like I was getting it, but then at the very end, something happens, and I feel like I don't fully grasp what this is going to mean for like the next book, or how this is going to impact the characters, because I don't fully understand like who all the different characters are and how they function in this universe.
Okay.
So I was doing a little like Fourth Wing Wikipedia Google searching after, and only briefly, because then I wanted to start my next book, which I started just for the summer, by Abby Jimenez. I'm on page 150 right now, so I'm flying through and reading at a much quicker pace, which I'm glad about, because holy cow, why did it feel like it was taking me so long to read that book when I felt like I was doing nothing but reading that book? So it's nice to be like reading a book where I feel like I'm actually making progress in the book, and I'm enjoying it so far. I can definitely tell there's like deeper topics in this book, and it's not like all just like a fun rom-com, but I'm enjoying it so far. I wouldn't say like I'm having any like super like, oh my god, this is gonna be like my new favorite book ever, but I am enjoying it. So
after I read A Court of Silver Flames, I was like, I need something quick, fast. I think we had shared our like potential reading order, and I think I had said I was going to read Vengeful right after A Court of Silver Flames, and I was like, Vengeful is like 460 pages. It's like not long, but it's like kind of long, and
not short.
Like I want to like, because I loved Vicious so much, I didn't want to like go in with like any sort of like resentment or anything. So I was like, I think I just need like super fast, quick, easy read. And The Naturals was on Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, okay, it's like Criminal Minds. I've heard there's like a love triangle. Like I'm intrigued. And such a quick read. Read it all in one day, like on Sunday. And I got 4 stars. I'll probably continue the series.
I didn't even say what I rated Iron Flame. I gave it 3.75, mostly because like I felt like I could have easily like automatically given it like the 4 stars that I usually do, but just because I knew that I was like actively not really wanting to like pick up the book to keep reading, and because I didn't like it as much as Fourth Wing, which I rated 4 stars, I feel like I kind of had to bump it down to 3.75. But I will say, like, was it the best book I've ever read? No, but I already kind of like wasn't planning on reading Iron Flame anyways until Maggie like convinced me to. And I will say that, like, and I said this in my review on Goodreads, the negative stuff that I was hearing review-wise from Iron Flame, I didn't really feel like I heard there was a lot of miscommunication, and I don't like miscommunication in a book either. And I could see that in the book, but it wasn't really bothering me as much as I felt like people were making it seem like it would. So, I don't know. I just feel like it was a lot of, like, war-related stuff that, like, was just taking longer than necessary to get through in the book, but there was nothing, like, wrong with the book in my mind. So, yeah.
So then after finishing the naturals, you know, in one day I was like, okay, I got my quick, easy, like, fix. I want to get my, you know, reading number up for, like, books that I'm reading. So I'm trying to read, like, 4 to 5 books a month to stay on track. Yeah. And I was like, I've only read 1 book in April, and it's only, like, 9 days in, but I need to get another book under my belt. So now I'm reading Vengeful, and I'm, like, 125 pages in. I'm enjoying it. I don't know, like, what it is about these characters, but, like, I just enjoy them so much. And there's, like, some more characters being introduced, so I don't know. I'll have to, like, potentially read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue because, like, I just really like V.E. Schwab's writing style, and so that's the only book of hers that I know that exists. And Haley's reading it right now, and she's kind of indifferent about
like
it.
She's saying right now she's kind of hanging out in, like, the 3-star category range.
So, we will see.
Okay.
That is our update.
So, how many hot takes do you come with today?
Let me open my computer. How many do you have?
I have 5.
I have...
But I try to come up with these on my own or be inspired by some others. So
I have 7, then I have 1 that I wanted to share.
Okay.
The one that I wanted to share is so stupid. This is mostly as someone who listens to true crime media, podcasts, documentaries, whatever. One of the most common phrases family members or friends will give regarding their loved ones who may no longer be with us, which, like, rest in peace to them. I'm not saying anyone should speak ill of the dead, but people always say, like, she or he was just the nicest girl. Like, they would give you the shirt off their back. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. No one hardly ever would give the shirt off their back. I can think of, like, a lot of people
are probably selfish enough to, like,
I can think of a lot of people that would describe me, and, like, I know I'm just, like, thinking too deeply into this because, like,
you want to speak well of people who are dead.
Like, I would say people can say, like, a lot of nice things about me. Like, if I was not here, they could say, like, oh, Ciera was so, like, nice. She was, like, thoughtful, like me hyping myself up. But, like, no one, if someone were to say, like, she would give you the shirt off her back, you'd be like, no, she wouldn't. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's my hot take, is people should stop saying that.
I've seen someone, this is not really related, but whatever. I've already gone in. This is, like, more so if you, like, read an obituaries or, like, family who, like, I don't know. I saw this on a TikTok. I know that, but I don't really know, like, the prominent point that was being made. But I feel like it was talking about, like, especially older women, like, in people's families and lives, like, are always talking about, like, oh, like, always taking care of other people, always, like, you know, doing this for other people. And that's, like, it was just, like, the person kind of being sad of, like, you don't really, like, who are they? Like, what do they like to do? Are we just, like...
I've seen people talk about that in, like, romantic relationships. Like, oh, what do you love about your partner? And, like, oh, like, she, like, cooks all my food for me. Like, the things that they do for them. It's like, well, what about her or what about him do you like?
An interesting thing. Which, like, I say this as someone who, like...
But you could also, like, turn the dime and say, like, she's so thoughtful. Like,
yeah,
she's so
like,
selfless.
There are things that... Obviously, like, those kinds of things, like, helping out your significant other, like, that's gonna be meaningful in your relationship. And some people, especially, like, if they're a big acts of service person, then, like, it can be something meaningful for them too. But sometimes, like, it just maybe isn't and kind of ends up being, like, the default. Anyways, unrelated, but since we were kind of talking about, like, how people describe the dead.
Completely unrelated topic, but I wanted to share it in the beginning section. I forgot, and I just remembered. My gym workout today was a run. I ran an 8:51 mile.
Wow, she's a runner
and
now.
I felt good. Like, I could probably bump it up next time. I might try to do an 8:30. She's a runner. She's a track star. Okay, I can do the next one too. This one's a dating one. Going Dutch on a date should be the norm, and anyone who disagrees is a freeloader. I mean, it's 2024. We're not in the 40s anymore. You're meeting someone for the first time. Make it make sense. Why would you want to spend money on someone who might turn out to be an absolute a-hole, boring, or a person with a personality stinkier than an unwashed armpit? Interesting choice of words by this person. And anyone who doesn't believe in it is just looking for a free meal.
Here's what I think, and like obviously they think differently because I'm not going to say anything to change their mind. I think there are simple ways. We talked about this in like our rules for dating episode. I feel like there are simple ways that like just traditionally are like, if you do these, it's kind of like the bare minimum of like you're a good person, you're chivalrous, whatever. I always feel like whoever asks the person out on the date should be the one paying. If the girl asks the guy out, I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like insists on paying, just because like that's kind of like the chivalrous thing to do. But if the guy's asking the girl on the date, I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like, the other person is taking into consideration what you are doing, whether you're paying or not, or if you're splitting it. I would always offer to pay.
See, I was going to ask.
Or like split.
I was going to ask if you've been on a date like where it's cost money. Have you always offered to pay? Because I honestly don't think I have.
But I'm trying to think of like the 2 recent dates that I went on. One, no. But it happened quick. I was like, whoa, I forgot he even had. He's already got his card out. I know he's paying.
Yeah.
Second one was like you pay at the counter afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of more of like a
there's one I was like
about to like split.
It was like a Dairy Queen thing where like I went up, ordered, he ordered after me. He's already there. He's like, I'm not gonna say excuse me,
get out of the way.
Let me, like, I was like, I'm staying back here. You got it. And then like anytime there's like I've been on one like sit down restaurant date,
you can feel it out a little bit.
And like,
most guys are going to like just
did not even offer, did not reach. Like the bill came out and I was like,
I'm sure he didn't hesitate to like grab his card though to like pay. So, read the room a little bit too.
So, otherwise, like I don't think there's like one date I went on. He brought me Starbucks, so I didn't have to. There was no
exchanging of the card.
Otherwise, like I feel like everything else been like kind of counter servicey type stuff where it's like. You order, and then he steps up, and then he's there.
You order first, he's behind you. So make the transaction.
Like, I would consider, half the time I just feel awkward, like, trying to be like, oh, no, like, because I'm sorry, I don't have any intention of paying.
Yeah. It would kind of take me back a little bit
Literally.
if, like, all of a sudden, like, I would step back away from the counter and be like, do you want to get this one? And I would,
even if it was like, here's the check, and, like, I'm sorry, personally, I'm not probably going to say, like, do you want to, unless, like, the date's not going well and, like, you know what I mean? This is
the least I can do. We'll part our ways and.
Like, because I think all the instances where it's, like, they've paid, like, there's at least been, like, a second date or something. But, except for the Starbucks thing. But, like, whatever,
Eventually, I do think, like.
Then, like, when you enter into,
once you start, like, seeing each other regularly,
yes.
like, definitely then go back and forth and, like, say, hey, I can get this one. You've been paying for a few of them. Like, at that point, yes. Don't keep freeloading. And then the guy can decide how much he does or doesn't want to pay. But I think first date especially. And I'm not saying that's easy for guys. I guess you got to be picky and choosy with who you're taking on dates.
Like that's what I'm saying. And I've heard single guys talk about this where it's like they have to, like, budget for dating.
I've seen girls even who, like, they will go, like, just like how they talk sometimes about first dates, like, yeah, they are going to get their free drink and a meal. And so I'm not saying there's not girls that don't do that, but what can you do?
You win some, you lose some. You want to share your next topic?
So this was my first hot take. Knowing how popular these shows are, it has to be a hot take. But I would say that sitcoms are probably the worst genre of television that we have. Here's some examples, because anytime I think of these shows, I'm just like, wow, I like could not imagine sitting down to watch any of these. Seinfeld, Parks and Rec, Friends, The Office, Modern Family. Like, those are all just shows I have literally no interest in whatsoever. I have seen them in passing. I understand what they're like and what they're about. I just don't find them very enjoyable or entertaining, or like I would just rather watch something else. My preference would be like a drama or a dramedy or something where there's like a little bit more going on. And so that's my hot take. I don't know if you have any elaboration or not, but
I feel like I'm in the same boat as you in the sense that I don't
and like I hate
typically
being a
watch those
hater
kinds
of like
shows.
things that everyone loves, but like I just don't like those shows.
Which it's funny because like Monk is in some ways like very similar to those types of shows. It is a dramedy. Because like part of me thinks like, oh, the reason I don't like those shows is because like the episodes are so like one off that there's little to no carryover from episode to episode. You can watch them in any order, which like, you know, a lot of like dramatic plot driven TV shows, like you got to watch it in order. Otherwise, like you're gonna be confused. And like Monk is a show where like you can watch it in any order pretty much. And like it will be fine. And so I'm like, why do I love Monk so much? Is it because of like that more drama aspect of like there's like the crime solving stuff and like that's what I like about it?
I feel like it has to be.
But like Modern Family, like just like the stuff that's like low stakes, crimes are high stakes.
Drama is high stakes. I need higher stakes.
Next one I have. The bare minimum is subjective and that's okay. Perhaps this is just an online issue I've noticed, but it has become apparent to me that the bare minimum talking point has regressed to brain rot perceptions of relationships. I agree that we all ought to have higher standards for ourselves and expect good treatment from our partners. However, I've seen people post about how they think their partner is good for them and list off some reasons only to be met by that's the bare minimum. For example, someone posted about how their husband was there for them when their brother died and he's supposed to do that. Yes, he is, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't appreciate that and view that as a sign of good character. Perhaps I'm going over the deep end, but when I hear that's the bare minimum nowadays, I assume you've never been in a relationship or at least cannot empathize with someone who is in one.
I feel like my thought is like when people use the bare minimum in context, because I don't necessarily disagree with this person, but I do think it's kind of like, I'm trying to figure out how I want to word what I want to say. There are certain things in relationships that like you kind of should expect from your partner, and so I feel like that's the bare minimum. So if people are like shocked or surprised and bringing that up to people are reminding them like that should be the case. It's not like that's the bare minimum, and I feel like they're not always saying like that means like they shouldn't just be doing the bare minimum. I think it's just saying like, yeah, good, he checks that box off. So if he weren't to check that box off, I would be concerned.
I feel like an example that I feel like I've seen with this type of comment is like, oh, like my boyfriend brings me flowers like every week or something. And like she's like, you know, happy with that. And people are like, that's the bare minimum. But like that's not like a lot of guys don't do that. Like, do they have to do that? No, like not necessarily. That's why this girl is like so happy that hers does.
Yeah, I would not.
But like,
I would not comment on, oh, that's the bare minimum.
But like I have seen people
like, is it nice? Yes. Is it probably fruitful to your relationship? Yes. But is it the bare minimum? No. I buy myself flowers on a weekly or bi-weekly basis.
Or the Miley Cyrus song.
Yes. Okay, my next one. This is a personal hot take that I wrote down. Bread is best or just as good without butter, I think.
That is a hot take.
It is a hot take. It's like sacrilegious probably to a lot of people.
Nothing? You know what's good? This is like completely the opposite of your take. Toast with butter.
Toast is different. But like, I know you don't do this either. Do you ever put butter on a roll? A dinner roll? A restaurant roll?
It depends.
Here's what I'll say though. The Texas
what will you say?
Texas Roadhouse rolls. If you consider the glaze, I don't really know what they put on those rolls, but it's not really butter, is it? That is good, but I don't put any additional.
People always do like the cinnamon thing or whatever it is. I don't like a sweet bread. I just enjoy them
in there. Whatever they come out as.
Yeah, I don't put butter on those.
I've never been someone. I just love the taste of the bread. Like I just love the taste of a warm.
See, you got me thinking of like a package of like white bread.
No, I'm thinking mostly of like dinner rolls and like restaurant breads.
Okay, I could get on board with that maybe.
I don't ever add butter to them.
See, I can maybe agree with that hot take. If I'm having like pulling out Sara Lee or Sandra Lee or whatever,
and I just pulled out a piece of white bread and ate it.
I wouldn't do that.
She didn't have much for snacks.
We're an ingredient household over there.
So,
okay. Watching videos on a phone is better than on a big TV. No matter if it's YouTube videos, sports, movies, or series, I prefer watching on my phone more than my TV. You put a phone closer to your face while you sit further from a TV, so the field of view that a phone takes up is just the same as a TV. A high-end phone has lower resolution than a high-end TV, but it has much higher PPI. I don't know what that means. Thanks to its smaller screen. Hence clear image at a close distance. And because of its small size, it also has better viewing angles. Last but not least, a high-end phone is much cheaper than a high-end TV. I have partially agreed with this, only in the sense of like videos on social media platforms, like I need to watch on like a computer or a phone where I can easily like watch and view the comments, because like that's half the enjoyment, you know? Mm-hmm. There's like TikTok apps for the TV. You can watch YouTube on the TV, but like it's not as, where's like the community, you know? So I don't like it as much. I completely disagree with
everything else.
The movies, TV shows aspect of it. Like I wouldn't even know how to watch TV. I do know how to do that on my phone, but like I don't have any apps to do that on my phone.
I just think sound's not going to be as good. Do you ever want to watch anything with someone? No, apparently. Crowd around my phone, everyone. That is a hot take.
I typically am like a 3-screener though. Something on TV, something on my computer. When I catch myself doing that, I'm like, I am brain rotting right now.
Yeah, that's like the epitome of
you know what I mean? I'm like, what am I even watching right now? Like, what am I doing?
I have no brain cells right now. What am I doing?
Like, why is Mulan on in the background while I'm watching a Sorry Girls video on my phone and I'm on TikTok, or I'm watching a Sorry Girls video on my computer and I'm on TikTok on my phone? What am I watching?
All of it. Here's what it is. TV for ambiance. Not actually watching a thing. Computer for, like, I can do 20 seconds of attention at a time. Anytime they, like, you know those, like, things in, like, YouTube videos where it's, like, they track, like, audience retention, blah, blah, blah. As soon as it dips, pause, or I'm not watching, and then I'm to my phone. And then maybe they're doing something and it draws my attention back into, like, the YouTube video, and then I'm watching again. That's what it is.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
I cannot not be entertained.
We should have someone do a study with, like, 3 screens, and, like, they track your eyes and see, like, which screen do you pay the most attention to.
It would be at 99%.
It'd be my little screen.
The little screen wins. My next hot take is Thanksgiving food is mediocre at best. To be honest, I cannot imagine getting older and, like, getting ready to host a Thanksgiving Day meal on my own, and then, like, me and whoever I'm married to are, like, slaving away a Thanksgiving meal for what?
You know how people have, like, alternative Thanksgiving and Christmases?
Do that. I would rather do that.
But like, I could see how that
I live in a traditional family who is, like, not going to do that. I should suggest it one of these times and be like, do we all really like this food that much?
What you should do is save that for your family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless your husband, like, really loves cooking or whatever.
Which maybe he probably would, and then be doing it anyways.
But, like, say, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm not cooking the turkey.
I just don't, the turkey doesn't taste that good. The best mashed potatoes, in my opinion, are the Bob Evans microwave pre-made mashed potatoes. They taste better than the ones you slave over all day. So I don't want to make that. I don't really like ham that much to make it.
Or turkey.
I don't like casseroles. I don't like pies. Like, I just...
You know what the best part? I mean, I like mashed potatoes, but, like, crescent rolls? The Pillsbury crescent rolls?
We can make some crescent rolls.
Those are good.
Same with Christmas food, too. It's, like, a little less set in stone what people do for Christmas, but, like, I feel like it's kind of Thanksgiving part, too. And I'm kind of just, like, there's so many other foods I'd rather be eating.
I feel like I have grown indifferent. Like, I'm like, oh, like, yeah, like, this is good. I get maybe 2 helpings of my food, and then I'm like, okay, that's all I needed.
I am not stuffing myself. like, leftovers. Oh my God.
People are like,
Thanksgiving
leftovers for weeks
would actually give me nightmares. I'm not taking any leftovers home. Thank you very much. You enjoy them though.
Okay. Next one, someone said we should choose our days off instead of always being Saturday and Sunday. Maybe that's already so for places that are open Saturday and Sunday, but my point is that it should be more common. Everybody's days off should be distributed around the week instead of everybody having the same days off. Obviously, people work different times, different schedules, so, like, people's weekends or days off are different, but, like, I think they're just saying, like, we should have no weekends or weekdays. Like, there's just days, and, like, oh, Joey always gets Tuesdays and Thursdays off, and you know, so does a fifth of the population or something.
I feel like sometimes that sounds good in theory because then you're like, oh, when people are going to work, there's gonna be like this one day that like I'm not working. But I feel like the thing is, everyone else then is having the day off that you don't, and then you have the day off that no one else does, and inevitably, like, don't you kind of want to be able to do something maybe with other people on your day off?
I feel like the other issue this has is like we live in a society that like scheduling events, concerts, whatever, like
they need to have days they know people.
You know, they're like, oh, everyone or like a lot of people have the weekend off. Versus like if it was this kind of schedule, they'd be like, I don't know, I guess schedule it for Tuesday, and whoever has Tuesdays off can come. Like in that sense, I don't think it would work very well.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I just feel like the weekend is so ingrained into like our culture, my culture. I live for the weekends that like I need Saturday and Sunday, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, my next one, I feel like my times, you've maybe mentioned different ones to me, so you could elaborate on your opinion. But brunch is strictly 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. Or 12 p.m. Oh my God. I was like, that's not right. Mostly because I feel like if it's before 10 a.m., if you're doing brunch, it's just breakfast at that point. And then, like, noon, it's decidedly lunch hour. So even if you're getting breakfast stuff, it, like, is lunch. It isn't. I don't know. But
I feel
that's
like
my thoughts. I feel like at that point, like, if you're really pushing brunch off to 1 o'clock, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I think there's different takes on it. And this is why the time might be different for people. To me, brunch is like your first meal of the day. But you have decided that it is later.
Because you're like, I'm not getting up at 8 a.m. to go to breakfast with you guys.
You're like, let's get brunch.
Yeah, I think like
breakfast closer to lunch. Versus people that have breakfast for lunch. You know, it's lunch hour.
Yeah.
They're just having breakfast.
I think like brunch in its truest identity and form is like in my mind, like you have decided you're going and you're starting your day off with that.
But like you're taking your time waking up, getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do brunch at home. Is that a caveat for me? I couldn't do brunch at home.
No,
I'm
you have
just
to go
making
out
a
for
late
brunch.
breakfast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So brunch has to be elsewhere.
Anyways, those are my time slot considerations.
I agree. Okay. Next one I have is venting is usually just complaining and doesn't make you feel any better anyway. Most things in life you have at least some control over. Repeatedly bleeping and moaning about something that refusing to even try to change it is exhausting for you and everyone around you. I disagree.
I feel like venting in and of itself can be an emotional release that is necessary.
Venting is literally letting off steam.
May I provide your definition?
And so, like, yeah, 9 times out of 10, are you complaining?
Like, you need to vent just to be able to then, like, let the energy go, calm yourself down, and then if you have the capacity after that to then try and actually work through solutions, then you can.
Someone said that's not even an opinion. That's just you misunderstanding venting. The point of venting is exactly to complain and vent out. Like a vent getting the hot air out of your head. It has nothing to do with wanting to change. I love venting.
I have one more.
I have 2 more.
My hot take is that when on vacation, 9 times out of 10, I would rather just order in for dinner or like get something to go and go back to wherever we're staying. Like I know a lot of people when on vacation kind of like they want to like come home from the beach, get ready for dinner, get ready to go to the restaurant, and then like have their little evening. I feel like after a full day of doing whatever I was doing on vacation, and this could just be like, you know, my more introverted side, I would rather just like stay in, recharge a little bit more, and yeah, that's all.
I partially agree with this one. I'm thinking back to like when we were just on vacation. Like when you're back in, here's the thing. When you go out and you come back to your hotel room or your Airbnb or your Vrbo or whatever, for me, it is hard to want to muster up the energy to go back out there. You know?
Get back.
But like if you're out and about and it's like dinner time, you're like, okay, we're gonna stop at dinner first and then we'll go back to.
But how often does that happen when you're on vacation? I guess maybe it just depends on like where exactly you're on vacation.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the time like you're needing to go get cleaned up and or showered and or changed, and then it's so hard to want to leave.
Yeah. You get like showered up, you cleaned up, you feel
like,
so cozy.
I'd be so cozy. I just don't want to leave.
We had like a mix. I mean, on our trip we did,
but like we genuinely did. I would say have to like kind of force ourselves back out of.
And there was one time we preemptively planned. We were like, we're going back, and Maggie was like, "Can we just stay?" Like we hadn't even gotten back to our Airbnb yet, and Maggie was like, "Can we just do our microwave meals and watch Brittany Broski report, and that's our night. We don't go anywhere." And Maggie and I were like, honestly, yeah.
Yes. So that was my last one.
Next one I have month, day, year format, or month, day, year is a better format. So that's what we do in the US. I understand that going from smallest to biggest makes sense and that every country but the US does it that way. But in my head, this way is better. To me, the month being first sets a precedent for what the day is. When you read the day first, it could be any month. There is only one April. There are 12 firsts through the 28th. I know that the month is the very next thing you read, and it's not complicated. But in my opinion, it's much easier to read it first so you can then immediately know which 10th the event or whatever is on. It's like saying the series name before the sequel. You wouldn't say The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars is directly after it, so it means the same, but knowing the series first makes more sense. So.
I mean, I almost feel I have a hard time, like.
Genuinely, like, I don't know how people in other countries do it, because, like,
it
would have no context to me.
Day,
like, I'm like, the 28th? Why is 28 here? And I'm like, oh, of April. But I like how they worded it, because I don't feel like I've ever been able to articulate.
I've seen people describe that.
It feels right, but now I'm like, oh, it's because there's only one of that option. So like then I have context. I feel like I'm like, oh, what part of the year are we in? Like, what's the weather like outside?
Like I'd almost have to assume in other parts of the world then, like, do they kind of assume like until they're reading otherwise that it's like, oh, I'm assuming this month, because then like I just feel like you need something to anchor year.
I would love to actually know, like, what are they just like, we don't need to anchor it, it's right after it.
I know, maybe they're like, I just read it all in one go.
Like,
it's just right there.
But I'm just like, but I feel like we need more. Like every time I've seen a date written like that, I'm like, whoa, like when is that? What are we talking about? And it really throws me off. So I want to look at some of the comments. Someone said, I really don't think there's a right or wrong way to go about it. I prefer month, day, year, but I can read any format just fine if I come across it. See, like, it genuinely,
I can read it, but, like, I genuinely, like, whoa.
It startles me. Like,
or
where are we? When are we?
Anything greater than a 12 first, I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's like 31. 31 where? How? What's the 31st month? I almost said, what's the 31st month? Someone said neither is better or worse. It's all what you're used to, which I'm sure is true.
I wonder if it like throws other people off as much to read like a month, day, year format though, as it does us reading the opposite.
See, but they can't get thrown because like the first number that they see is always like possible. Does that make sense?
So then how in their mind do they...
What do you mean?
No, I don't know.
Because like for us, like we were saying, if we see anything above a 12, we're like, what is going on? Like our brains short circuit.
Mm-hmm.
They can see 1 through 31 and they're fine first. So like if they see like a date written,
it probably isn't like as off-putting.
Yeah.
Because it's like feasible.
They're like, oh, and then like they might see like the next one is... I don't know. I just feel like...
Well, they know how it's written for them.
I just get confused when I think about it too much, if I'm being honest. Anyway, I have one more. Identifying as intelligent but lazy in most cases is just people overestimating their intelligence. I often see people who have average or below average.
I want to preemptively agree with this.
I often see people who have average or below average success academically or professionally describe themselves as smart but lazy as the reason they are not highly successful. These people usually just think they are more intelligent than they are. These people are quote-unquote lazy because they find academics or high-level work difficult and don't understand it enough to find high-level concepts interesting. Nearly every intelligent person I have ever known has achieved at least moderate success by just simply applying themselves. They achieved high college placement exam scores without studying much. they were able to understand a specialized/technical field fairly easily. This isn't an academic / white collar is better than blue collar post either. I used to work diesel mechanics, blah, blah. I don't really care what they're saying at the end there. But
it's just kind of like a weird thing to say about yourself. Because I feel like you're only bashing yourself.
You think they're bashing themselves? I feel like they're hyping themselves up.
Well, I feel like they think they're hyping themselves up. But then, like, they're bashing themselves the second they say, like, but I'm too lazy to apply myself. And I just feel like if you say that, like, I'm not going to buy into the fact that you think you're so smart. And it's also just like, then I feel weird that you're like claiming that about yourself. So now I'm just like having a whole, like, I don't trust you. I don't think we would get along.
Some of the comments, someone said, in my experience, it's often people that did well in school before they got lazy. So they wrongly concluded that they would still do well or still do just as well now if they were at work harder. But in reality, I don't like how this person's wording this. Let me look for a different comment.
These are the people that say, like, I went to the school of hard knocks.
Intelligent but lazy often just means smart but has ADHD. I don't agree with that. Like, it's always the people that are, like,
don't give yourself a cop-out. Just don't give yourself a cop-out.
Like,
just
maybe
be honest with yourself.
And just show me how smart you are, and I'll believe it, versus just, like, saying how smart you are.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly. So, with that is where we leave you. That is all of our hot takes and unpopular opinions that we are sharing today.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you rate our podcast. You can comment on our Instagram posts. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
It's a little mystery.
And you can go watch on YouTube if you'd rather, or, if you want to watch next week's video version, we've got options.
So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to send us any future episode ideas that you want us to talk about in the future, and you might see it coming up because we're pretty open and active in the DMs and wherever, the comments. We try and look at everything. So we will talk to you guys next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.